Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for choosing to spend a sunny afternoon on this call with us rather than outside, or outside and on this call with us. Fantastic, Stacey. Two birds, one stone. Uh, My name is Amal. I'm here today to chat to you about building up your emotional resilience, especially as freelancers, or solopreneurs or business owners, especially in this market, because it has not been easy the last few months. And we sometimes forget about what we need versus what the business needs. So thank you, everyone, for making time for the next hour to focus on what you need, not just what the business needs, because without you operating at your best, it's very hard for your business to operate at its best. I'm not going to bore you too much with an intro. A bit about me. My name is Amal. I've spent the last 15, 16 years in strategy and innovation consulting, mostly freelance and agency side. And I set up my own business just over a year ago. I do a couple of main things. The first thing is I'm an executive coach. I work with founders, I work with senior leaders, especially in creative and in tech, folks who got to the point in their life who either they burned out or something went sideways, shall we say. And I help them reconnect with their passion, with their purpose, with their identity so that they can lead more authentically, with more balance, more sustainably, and with more resilience. I also run a company called The Brick Coach. We are an experiential organization transformation studio. Big words. We help teams work better together by focusing on the people before we focus on the business. And we do that with Lego. Serious play. So our sessions usually look something like this, not your boring consultancies. I use the LSP in both private coaching, I use it in team sessions, I train other facilitators and trainers and L&D folks and on how to use Lego Serious Play in running their own one-on-one and team sessions. I actually ran the training yesterday and the day before, so I'm riding on that high of looking at pictures that look like this. Outside of work, I love traveling. I am mildly obsessed with cats. I've got three of them. Those are my real cats. These are not pictures of the internet. Like I said, I do a lot of stuff with Lego, so usually you can find Lego loitering around my house. I don't take things very seriously, and it took me a long time to put things into perspective and stop taking things so seriously, which for me is part of building up emotional resilience. In case you're wondering why I'm being so random, that's why. But I'd love to know more about you. Tell me more about you. What do you do? Drop it in the chat or go off mute. We're a relatively small group. And tell me one thing that gives you energy or joy. I overshared, your turn. In chat or off mute, your call. I'll give you a couple of minutes. This is an interactive session. It'd be great to hear from you.
OMG, I'm online. I didn't hear that. I'm actually online somewhere. The interactive question. So
Yeah, tell me more about, yeah, what do you do?
Gives you energy and joy. Okay, so I'll get right back to you 1 second.
Okay. Kelly, you're off mute. Can I assume you're going to tell me more about you?
I'm off mute. Oh my gosh, I am off mute. I was typing, but I'll say it now. I'm a brand and website designer, and the things that bring me joy are music, super long walks, connecting with family, and really long talks about figuring out life and theories about the universe and all that stuff. They're the things that bring me joy.
Love that. I like the super long walks.
Long walk, like
Specific,
2 hour walks. Yeah.
specificity. Very nice. Love that. And Joyce, amazing. 2 granddaughters. How old are they?
Joyce, you may need to unmute yourself because we cannot hear you.
Here it is. Hi, I have
Hi.
2 granddaughters. One is a year and a half, and the other one is going to be 3 in August. So,
Oh, tiny. Very cute. And what do you do?
I'm retired RN, hanging out in Mexico with my youngest granddaughter and son and girlfriend, and just want to. I want a new career.
Okay. It's an interesting crossroads you're at. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
All right, you can keep dropping things in the chat. Everybody who hasn't introduced themselves. Independent social researcher. Hi, Finn. Oh, the big squeeze. Yes, that's if the budgets are real. I hear you. We're going to be talking about some pain points in a sec, so bear that in mind. Garden, perfect day to do that. Dogs, yes. Live by the beach. I love that, Faye. Amazing. More dogs. Excellent. I think I need to get a dog just so I have an excuse to go outside sometimes instead I'm a cat person. I'm missing out.
That is
Oh,
so funny. I have a dog, and that's probably the only reason why I really get out too. I am a registered medical assistant. I just dropped a nursing program due to so many reasons, but the main reason was I lost my boyfriend, went into like mourning mode, and in between I've heard several messages that I live a holistic lifestyle, and so it contradicts my profession to become a nurse because I don't believe in medicine. I believe in holistic healing. And so, how would I administer medicine to people believing that there are holistic ways to heal? So, took up psychology instead, and I'm a psychology major today. What other question is there? One thing that gives you energy and joy. My joy comes from the Lord, Jesus Christ. My energy comes from my good health, being in good spirits and literally good health, mind, body, and soul.
Awesome. I love that, Stacey. I'm sorry for your loss, but thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, it's really nice to meet everybody. I hope today's session will be helpful for you to find some rest and build up your resilience. Before we do that, I just thought I'd share a definition of what resilience is. A lot of us think of resilience as the ability to push through and just keep going. But actually, resilience, a big part of it is recovery. So resilience is our ability to adapt and recover quickly from any challenges or any curveballs that clients or life or other things throw our way. And the keywords are to adapt and recover quickly. And recovery is just as important. A lot of us think of resilience as, like I said, the ability to push through, to keep going mentally, emotionally, physically, but actually taking a moment to recover and making sure that we can do that on a regular basis can help us become more adaptable. It can help us recover more quickly when those curveballs get thrown at us. So if you take one thing away from today, is that element of recovery is so important, because especially in really challenging times, especially in trying times, especially when clients are trying to shave budgets and work people overtime and gaslight you on proposals that you've sent, and actually the proposals were not real, or whatever life is throwing at you. Your resilience is not measured by your ability to push through. Your resilience is measured by your ability to take a moment, recover, refill your cup, and then move on from that challenge or that curveball or that adversity. I like to think of it this way. If you're a driver, if you're driving your car, you don't wait until your tank is empty, right? Like, because then you can't refill your tank because you've got no gas to go to the station to refill your tank and start again. Or if you drive an electric, you wouldn't wait until you're at 0%. Or if you prefer a phone analogy, you wouldn't wait till your phone is dead to charge it, because you need to go somewhere to charge your phone. But if we stick with the car analogy, you wouldn't wait till you're at 0 miles in your tank before you fill up your car. You would do that before. So think of yourself as a car, right? Like, you've only got so much emotional energy, you've only got so much mental energy, you've only got so much physical energy. And that ability to recover, that ability to refill your tank and to give yourself energy is what's going to make you more resilient, more quickly, and more adaptable in the long run. I'd love to hear from you. On a scale of 1 to 5, how well do you currently feel like you're doing when it comes to resilience in this definition, with recovery built in? 1 being not at all, 5 being I'm doing pretty well, thanks.
I would give it a 3. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
with Faye.
Yeah, I'm with you
I
both.
would give it a
Yeah.
3.
Ooh, Finn, 1 or 2. Okay. I'm going to ask you to go into pairs to have a little conversation a bit more privately. But if you want to go off mute and tell us a bit more about why you've given yourself that rating, you're more than welcome to. Have a think about your rating, but also I'm going to send you into pairs, because when you go into breakout rooms, it's not a recorded conversation, so you can say whatever you want in confidence to your partner, and it won't be on the recording. So hopefully it gives you a bit more freedom to be a bit more vulnerable and a bit more honest, I guess, in some ways. So we're going to send you into pairs for the next 5 minutes or so. I would love for you to reflect on that rating that you've given yourself, if you've already rated yourself, and think about what are the challenges that are currently coming up in your way that are making it really hard for you to become more resilient, or to recover more quickly, or to adapt more quickly. Your personal experience, no right or wrong answers. You can take 5 minutes, and when we're back here, you're welcome to share some reflections. Welcome back. How was that for everyone?
Good.
Thumbs up. Fantastic.
And had a very, very nice testimony there. Very good.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Anything? That's great. I'm glad. Would anybody like to share anything before we move on to the next section? Anything that came up for you in that chat?
Yeah, I think Joyce and I had a good chat, didn't we, Joyce? And I think the thing that came up is just pivoting what the landscape of work looks like now, because it's changed so dramatically, almost, I guess, overnight. So it's just, I think the resilience, it came through when we both talked that the resilience is probably a little bit more challenging when it's kind of everything you know has completely changed. So yeah, that's our
and not knowing, because of just where we are globally, what is this even supposed to look like? And when will we see, something that looks like consistency?
Mm-hmm.
And I love that reflection that it feels like it's overnight, but actually it's been 4 years in the making, and we've all collectively gone through a very similar traumatic experience, and we've all like a lot of us have collectively come out on the other side going,
Mm-hmm.
whoa.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
going on a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love your reflection, Finn, as well. It's a good moment for us to be questioning what we thought we knew about work, healthy work-life balance, and actually just redefining those boundaries. It's really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. So for the next section, I'm going to share 3 things that I talk a lot to clients about when it comes to building up your emotional resilience. We're going to talk about pausing. Like I said, for me, the most important aspect of resilience is our ability to recover. And to be able to recover, we need to build in rest into our routine. So we'll talk about different types of rest and how to get those. The second thing we'll talk about is how to get help and how to get support, because we are social creatures, we are social animals, whether we're introverts or not, we kind of need a bit of help sometimes. And we'll also talk about finding your groove or finding your balance or whatever you prefer to call that. But we'll talk a bit about how to build that into your work-life balance. So when it comes to pause, a lot of us think that we need to earn a holiday, or we need to work really hard and then we will rest. At first, we put in the long hours and we put in the years climbing the career ladder. We do all of that and then we will rest. Rest is a destination in our minds because culturally that's what we're kind of brought up to believe. But actually, rest is not a luxury. It's something we should be building into our routine so we can help ourselves recover faster. We need rest. Like, we're not robots yet. We're still human. Maybe one day, but for now we're still human and we need rest to operate at our best and most sustainable, our most resilient more often. And genuinely taking breaks and genuinely building in rest into our lives helps us recover more quickly and helps us in the long run build up our resilience and our recovery time. If you're not familiar with the work of Dr. Sandra Dalton-Smith, I highly recommend you check her out. She did a TED Talk on the topic. There's an article that goes with it, and there's a little quiz. And in her piece, she talks about the 7 types of rest that we all need. We all instinctively, when we think of rest, we think, oh yeah, I'll just have a nap or I'll go on holiday. And we're mostly thinking about our physical rest. But actually, there's a ton more rest that we need to be able to function our most efficient, resilient, sustainable, balanced, and happy as well, right? So one type of rest is mental rest. I don't know about you, but I think there's a meme somewhere that says in my mind there's 172 tabs open, and I don't know where the music is coming from. We all carry so much, right? Like, we're juggling projects, we're juggling deadlines, we're juggling holidays, paying our bills, especially as freelancers. You're doing the admin, you're doing the business development, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the work, you're doing the client relationship, you're trying to win the next piece of work. It's exhausting mentally. And however you find rest, build in some moments where you just can switch off from a mental point of view. Some things that help me, for example, are deleting work email off my phone when I go on holidays, switching off, deleting apps fully, or just removing email accounts from my phone when I don't want to look at work and when I don't want to think about work. Removing some notifications so we're not constantly going, oh shit, I need to reply to this thing just really quickly. So that's exhausting mentally to carry that. Emotional rest, we all need that. Sometimes it can be exhausting. Eva and I were having a fun chat while you were in your breakout rooms about the movie Inside Out 2. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend. They introduce a character of anxiety who's constantly worried about all the different possibilities and all the things that could go wrong. And again, as freelancers, we're carrying a lot of that emotional load as well. And the financial worry, the worry about what's going to happen if we don't land that project on our family, on our kids, on people we care about. That's quite exhausting as well. So emotional rest is quite an important one to try to build into your routine. Obviously, physical rest hopefully doesn't require a lot of explanation, but physical rest can look different for different people. Kaylee, you might want to go on a 2-hour walk, you and Ava, separately, ideally, because then you also get some social rest at the same time. But that could be a type of rest, right? It's like giving your body a reset, so you're not sitting and just working at your computer the whole time. It could be going to a gym, doing yoga, or it could just be sleeping. Creative rest, a lot of us are serious grown-ups and we don't do a lot of creative stuff because that's not really a priority, especially when we're hustling to get work and do the work and get the next piece of work and worry about all the things we need to worry about. So we kind of deprioritize creativity. Creativity can look different to different people. It could be a coloring book, it could be a pottery class, it could be writing, it could be whatever brings you joy and fills your creative cup. So have a think about what it is to you and try to build that into your week. Sensory rest. I mean, we're in sensory overload all the time. You've got your notifications, your emails, you've got the news, you've got all the things just constantly attacking your physical senses. So trying to create time and space for you to not feel that overwhelmed by all those sensory, especially if you live in a city, like it can be a lot for your senses to take in. So try to carve out moments where you can be in nature, where you can be away from phones, not looking at screens, but actually giving all of your senses a bit of rest. Social rest. Some of us need it more than others. If you're an introvert, you crave social rest because you just need to recharge away from the crowd. But even if you're a super social person, sometimes you just want a downtime and you just want to give yourself some time to not have to worry about so-and-so's troubles and so-and-so's latest drama. And you just want to be alone and refill your own cup and put your own mug on first. So think about moments where you can give yourself a bit of social rest if that's something that's exhausting you at the moment. And spiritual rest, I think some of us, again, need it more than others. I know, Stacey, this is probably something that's important to you. But try to find moments where you can connect with whatever spirituality means to you. It could be finding something that connects you to your sense of purpose or your sense of passion if you're not a religious person, or if you're a religious person, is carving out time to actually practice and get closer to that side. So I really invite you, it's free, obviously. I invite you at the end of this workshop to go check out Sandra Dalton-Smith's website. There's a little quiz and she asks you all sorts of questions to see what kind of rest you're currently craving. And then you can have a little brainstorming session around that, because really trying to carve out rest on a regular basis in your life can help you in the long run recover faster and build up your emotional resilience. Any questions on rest? Or any thoughts, reflections, things that people have tried in the past that has worked for them?
Thank you. I would like to share just a comment I shared with Finn. So many people really don't understand the word strive, and a lot of people use it in the wrong perspective. We're supposed to thrive in life, not strive. And striving is what is making us so exhausted, because we're striving through each and every one of these topics: the mental, the emotional, the physical, the creative, the sensory, the social, the spirituality. So if we can, like, focus on trying to understand striving is not a good thing. Thrive, not strive. Yes, Amale. Amale,
I love
if I'm
that.
saying you're right, if I'm saying your name correctly.
It's Amale, yeah.
Amale, yeah. So yeah.
Awesome. I love that reflection. It's a great way of putting it. Because like when you strive, you're just constantly like going back to that battery analogy or that tank analogy. You're striving, you're running, you're rushing, you're burning energy your burning capacity and you're not replenishing anything, you're just running on fumes by the end of things. So just make sure that you build up that rest as you go. Love that reflection. Thank you.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. It really is. And it
Wait,
burns people out, and they're wondering, like, our words have power, and so to say you're striving and thinking at it as if it's a good thing, it's not.
yeah. I can have a separate rant about hustle culture and people. Like, I used the word hustle earlier and I meant it in a derogatory way. Like, I feel hustle culture is like a really bad thing as well for our mental health. Our inability to say no because we feel we have to say yes to everything. Otherwise, we're letting people down or we're missing on opportunities and burning ourselves in the process. I can talk about words a whole other time because our language is really important. But another thing I'd love for you to consider as well is, where are you getting help from? So we talked about rest, and rest can be a very individual exercise. But to build up your resilience, sometimes you need not sometimes, you quite often, and it's really encouraged for you to build a support network around you, especially if you're a freelancer, especially if you're contracting, especially if you're a solopreneur. It can be so lonely. Like, loneliness is a genuine issue when it comes to the work that we do and as a society as a whole, but that's a tangent. But especially for us, it's so important to surround ourselves by people who are going to support us and who are going to help us refill our own cup. So think about it this way. You exist at the center of your own universe, and you've got your core support system. That could be a best friend, that could be a parent, that could be a partner. But then you also have other circles that you can constantly tap into. You're not alone. You have your friend network. You have your previous work colleagues that you've worked with that you got along with. You have groups like Juno, like other communities that you can join. You can constantly try to find those little circles or spheres of support, as I like to call them, that are going to be there for you. And you can pull people in as and when you need them. And I encourage you to not wait until you're lonely, or to not wait until you need help, or to not wait until you're looking for your next contract to go, shit, who do I speak to now? I encourage you to constantly create time and to make space to actually build that network and to rely on it when you need help. A lot of us are terrible at asking for help. So I encourage you to, yes, Joyce, thank you for rolling your eyes. Yes, 100%. Like, oh no, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to, like, I don't want to inconvenience them. I can do it on my own. I'm superhuman. It's okay. No, you're not. Again, we're not robots yet. But now we kind of need help. To ask for help, even if it's just from a friend, from a partner, from a colleague, from a community you're part of, from your coach, from your therapist, from whoever that you trust. Get support whenever you need it, and ideally before you need it. Because again, that will help you recover faster rather than you going it alone and burning yourself out and emptying your tank and then going, shit, how do I refuel? Now I need to go talk to people, which is going to be really exhausting. And it becomes more daunting and you become more alone. I encourage you to always carve out time to ask for help and to build that support network, not just when you need it. How's this landing with folks?
I like that a lot. To ask before you're burnt out. I have that issue. I had that issue. Being on my own since I'm 16, I had a baby at 16 and doing everything on my own. And the family I was blessed, I guess, to be in, taught me pride, to
Yep.
to to not ever ask for anything. The world doesn't owe you anything, and no one's gonna do it for you. You know, time doesn't wait for you, and all the stuff that we've been taught.
Mm.
I've been I've been taught in life. So yeah, thank you for that advice, to ask before you're burnt out. Because speaking from experience, you become like prideful, you know,
Yep.
um,
And the more
and
burnt out
then
you
maybe
get, the
bitter.
harder yeah. And the more burnt out you get, the harder it becomes to ask for help. And you get into this vicious circle where you're even more alone as things get worse and worse and worse. So I encourage you to stop whenever you need help. The world doesn't owe you anything, but it might want to help. You just wouldn't know if you need help until you ask it.
I think you
Somebody
said it
told
before. You mentioned it. I think you mentioned it before. Like everyone needs help.
Yep.
Everyone, once upon a time in their life, we all do need help. It's almost impossible to do life without help, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Somebody had told me this a couple of years ago in a slightly different context, but if you don't ask me for help, you're denying me the opportunity to say yes. So give people the opportunity to say yes, because we enjoy helping other people, right? So maybe they enjoy helping us. So ask for help. If they say I have no capacity, that's okay. But at least you've asked and you've given them the opportunity to say yes.
I love that. I do love helping people.
We all do, right?
It's
Like,
wonderful.
yeah.
It's awesome.
The last thing I want to leave you with is sometimes we do a lot of work that just grinds our gears. So you may be familiar with this idea of zone of genius, but basically we all have things that we're good at and we all have things that brings us joy. And sometimes we get stuck into careers that yeah, we're good at, like zero joy involved. It could be our zone of excellence. We could be fantastic at doing that, but we feel nothing. Like it doesn't bring us joy. It doesn't fill us with any kind of positive emotions. On the other hand, there's loads of things that bring us joy that we might not be good at, and maybe not. Let's not live there that much. Our zone of genius really lives at this intersection of things that we're really good at and that bring us joy. And that takes a lot of personal reflection, right? Like, especially for you, Joyce, you're debating what to do next. This could be a good exercise for you to do. If you don't, if you can also try Ikigai if you want, but this is a simpler exercise for you to go through. Like, what are the things that that I'm really good at, that either that I know I'm good at or other people tell me I'm good at, and what are some of the things that bring me joy, and where's the intersection, and what could that look like? I know this is really idealistic, and I'm not saying only live in your zone of genius. Absolutely not, because hey, real world, hello, bills to pay. But try to find the balance, right? Like we don't want to just live in zone of incompetence, trying to deal with admin and paying taxes. That's grinding, and we don't have the luxury of always living in the zone of genius. But make sure whenever you can, when you're planning out a week or planning out a project or planning your next quarter, try to build enough things that bring you joy that you're good at into the mix, because then at least you feel excited, you feel like you've got a sense of purpose, you feel like you're getting something out of the job, out of the work, out of the contract, or whatever that might be, rather than just only giving things to it. Where do you feel like you currently operate? Like, do you currently, for the group, where do you currently feel like you operate? Do you feel like you know what your zone of genius is, and do you live in it often?
As a Christian, I just started to do some research on my gifts,
Mhm.
and I did a survey, and it came up as a healer and a teacher and a few other things. But I believe I operate well in listening. Like my listening skill is definitely a plus. Excuse me for this noise out here. I don't know if you guys are from New York, but I'm over here at this Washington Avenue area. It's really nice. Um, but yeah, so psychology is right up my alley, and I believe that I was detoured to fulfill my calling and to be able to help others who come after me who had, you know, similar trials and tribulations. But to listen, I believe that's one of my um, positive, strong traits to listen. Not many people listen or they listen to reply. I truly do like listen and take in and relate and put myself in the person's shoes, or I'm a very detail oriented person, so I really do listen with great detail.
Love that. So for everybody else, like have a little think, especially for you, Joyce. I'm thinking about you because you're thinking about a next career. Try to think of the things that you're really good at. Try to think of also the things that bring you joy. I think an additional layer in Ikigai is what does the world need? And if you
Yes.
want it to be more mercenaries, like what can I get paid for?
Yes.
Uh,
How do you get there? Because everything points toward entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
So that points toward funding and, you know, all this kind of stuff. So, but I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
Love that. And try to find a happy balance is the point of this slide. Don't just live in your zone of genius, but try to give yourself a bit of zone of
Yeah.
genius exercises and activities. Yeah, okay, fine. We all need to pay our taxes. So zone of incompetence it is. But try to mix it up so you feel like at least you've got a bit of purpose, and that will build up your emotional resilience, even when, you know, days are a bit harder.
Yeah. And not to, you know, feel like, hurry up. You know, it's like, um, how do I do this quickly? But I'm feeling now like maybe it's not going to be that quickly because you just need to give myself a chance to do the process of moving forward. And you know, it's like anything, you building a foundation, it takes longer to build a foundation, but once you get it in place, you know, things pick up a bit. But I had to deal with that because I was like, I need to hurry and, you know, move in one
Yeah.
direction or the other.
I don't know if you've seen in product development and technology, this saying that you can't have things cheap, fast, and quick. Cheap, fast, and well. So you have
Yeah.
to sacrifice something. You can't have
Yeah.
quality, affordability, and speed. Like one of them is going to have to go. So if you're in a rush to get to an answer, then you might not get to the perfect answer, but you'll get to an answer. If you want to get to the perfect answer, then you might need to sacrifice speed. And only you know the answer, but something's going to have to go for you to get to a place where you're like nailing it.
I know, and you got to be real with yourself about that, you know, because
Exactly.
that's just the way it is.
Haste
100%.
makes waste, right?
Yeah.
Haste makes waste.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I had just said to Finn today, Joyce, in our breakout session, that I gave myself a number threes because I'm trying to like catch up for lost time or you know, get things done now because of missed opportunities. And it's like, thank you for this group. I mean this Zoom. It's essential that we are to define resilience as such, as you mentioned here. Thank you.
Of course. I'm loving the participation. Thank you so much. Before we close out, I just wanted to give you another 5 minutes, maybe in a different pair this time, for you to have some reflections and to have a think about some of the things that you think you're doing really well. Again, we talked about resting, we talked about building your support network and finding balance between the things that you're phenomenal at and things that you're like, oh, I have to do this. So have 5 minutes, have a little chat about what the areas you feel you're doing really well at are, and what are some of the changes that you're going to commit to making to start building a bit more resilience into your life. I'll give you 5 minutes, you'll come back and share some things, and after that, I'll let you get on with your day. Welcome back. I invite you to drop your commitment in the chat for some extra accountability from the group. And I know we've only got a few minutes left, but if you fancied it, come say hi, connect with me on LinkedIn. You can also grab a completely free 30-minute chat with me. If there's anything on your mind after the session that you want to clear up, just head over to amale.co and hit the big Let's Chat button. But yeah, I'm just going to open it up to the floor. Any questions, reflections, thoughts in the last few minutes are more than welcome. What will you take away from today's session? One commitment.
A lot of good stuff. Don't run out totally before you try to fill the tank again at all costs, because sometimes that's just a good idea, but it just doesn't happen. But it's absolutely necessary.
I love that. Well, this has been a pleasure. Thank you for spending a sunny afternoon with me.
If you have any questions after the session, you know how to contact Amale. If you want to attend any more of our events, have a look on our website, because there is one more really nice event about branding next week. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Amale, and hope to speak to you soon.